Now, there isn't a lot to do here. It's kind of blind guesswork what I'm doing. I had to spread this frame out a bit. Oh, boy. Okay, I think we're ready to put some power to this thing, and hopefully we don't get any smoke. Okay, plugged in. All right, here we go. Let's power. Oh, wait. Now we're ready to power it up. Oh, what? Oh, okay. I thought this was some kind of speckles, like a bad LCD, but that's just the design. Okay, pretty quick. No smoke that I see anyway. All right, we're good on that. I guess I can put this back. Okay, we've got print, prepare, control, level. Let's see here. Okay, that's temperature for, I believe, the extruder and the bed. 100 is the time. Don't know what that means. Z.2. I think that's the Z offset off the bed. Don't know. All right, next step, level the platform. And it gives us nice instructions with pictures of what the LCD should look like. And the way I understand this works is that the extruder nozzle is mounted in a term escapes me at the moment. It's a thing that when you see it's being bent, it changes an electrical resistance or current, and so it knows that it's pushing down on something or that thing's being deflected. And so when it puts the nozzle down and the nozzle hits the bed, it bends that little stress detector or whatever. I'll find the right name and I'll put it up over here somewhere. Anyhow, that's how it senses. It touches down at various points in the bed to check its level. And again, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but just guessing, I'm guessing that the bed does not actually get leveled. Okay, it doesn't actually. There's no mechanism for it to automatically change the tilt of the bed. I think all it is that it measures how far off level. It knows the gantry movement is this way. It measures how far the bed is off of that, and then it adjusts its motion in the gantry to go parallel to the bed versus actually leveling the bed. That's my guess. I could be wrong. Oh well. All right, so it says to, I'm a little confused here. There's little arrows here. There's 6 steps here, but these all look the same. Push that button, see this happen. Oh, okay, I see. These are in English. These are in, I presume, Chinese. So there's 2 parallel sets of directions on how to level the bed. Okay. Let's see now. It says we push this button, which is the level button. Okay, good. We get a beep, we get a response. Then we push the middle button, which is the auto leveling button. Okay, and now we get this grid. Let's see. Wait for the nozzle temperature to heat up to 120°C. Okay. All right, I see the bed. No, the nozzle is now heating. It's up to 58, 63. It's getting on the way to 120. So when it says, what does it say? wait for it to heat up to 120 and start leveling. So I guess when it reaches 120, I'm going to get another button that says start. Okay, 104, 109, 113. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's going to go. All right. There is no. Okay. Instructions are a little bit off. It doesn't. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to wait. It's going to wait. And there it goes. Okay, now it's starting to put the bed down. Not the bed, the gantry down, and it's going to touch the plate with the nozzle. Let me get the pen light and light this up a bit. Maybe it'll make it clearer. Okay. Ah, all right. Touch the middle. Okay, it touches each spot a couple times, making sure it's getting a good reading. So it's going to do, it looks like 16 measurements. Okay, and it's lighting up as it does each measurement. Okay, in like a zigzag pattern. It's very, very quiet. There's just a little bit of a zoomy noise when it moves the bed vertically. I don't hear the vertical motors at all. I can see there's a little blue light flashing in there each time it touches the plate. That should be it. Okay. It's not doing anything. It still says leveling up here. There are no. Okay, the next is going on to talking about preheating stuff. I don't see anything that says done or, push here to continue or nothing. If it's done, it's not doing a very good job of letting me know it's done. Well, it's been several minutes and nothing has happened. It hasn't given any other kind of indications, any other messages. It still just says leveling and giving the exact same indicators that it was before. I'm going to assume that it's done and it just does a poor job of letting you know that it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and click on back. The manual now goes into two preheating methods. I kind of read over them. I don't understand what's the difference, or mainly why would you do one or the other? Maybe you do both. I just don't know. It's not real clear. So let's just go on and try loading the filament. I've unwrapped the filament and got it loose from where it was twisted around through the spool itself here, and then used the included little clippers to cut off what I looks like a nice clean end to me. And in doing that, I did notice that according to the label here, this is red filament. Maybe once it goes and it's heated and it sets, it turns red, but this sure looks orange to me. So I reinstalled the spool holder and slid it all the way back against the gantry frame. Put this on here, and then it feeds into this sensor that detects when it runs out of filament. And oh, okay, it was kind of hard to get through there. Oh, I see. There's like probably some kind of spring-loaded mechanism. I noticed that when I push it through, a light comes on. So that's just, I guess, a visual indicator that it sees it has filament. It comes on through here, and I need to pull this lever out which I presume releases some kind of a, or it uses a cam mechanism to release some sort of a drive wheel. And this has to feed in to the other end, or into this drive. There we go. That seemed a little clumsy to me, trying to go across this gap here. I don't know why the two aren't connected by some kind of a guide tube. All right. And it goes into the drive a little ways and then just flat out stops. Oh, there. Okay, hopefully I didn't break something. Ah, all right, I can see that coming into the tube now. Feels like that's all the way in, so I'll clamp the drive mechanism back down. All right, filament loaded. That didn't seem too bad, although like I said, I don't like the fact that this bridge between the filament out sensor and this drive system, that gap there is, I can see where that would be a pain if you've got the slightest bit of curl in the filament. All right, filament loaded. It looks like we would be ready to go, except I'm not comfortable enough to start this. I think I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go read through the manual, maybe read some online stuff before trying to start this up. One thing I'd like to do before taking a break is to try putting the SD card into the machine and make sure that it can read it and just kind of see what's on it. So looking here, there's a cover over the SD card slot. We'll peel that off. It goes with the connectors up. That's not normal. Okay, locked into place, and let's see, we're still in the auto leveling menu, so we'll go back out and let's try print files. What does that say? File selection. 1 out of 5. Okay, nothing is showing up. It says there are 5 files on there, but nothing's appearing. All right, let's go back out of here. I'm going to take and put this card into the laptop and see what's on here. I put the card into my laptop and took a look at it, and sure enough, there is stuff on there. In fact, there were a couple of files and 5 folders. And it told me there were 5 things when I looked before, and I'm thinking that it was seeing the folders. Basically, it's like here's my guess, is that it looks at it and it is looking for G-code files. And when it doesn't see them, those other files were not G-code files, but it does see folders, and somehow it knows enough to know that there could be G-code files in those folders, but it's not smart enough to show you the folders or drill down through them. So I'm guessing that for whatever reason, and maybe this is just a bug in the firmware, any G-code files have to be located in the root of the card. So that's what I did. I got another card and copied the files, the G-code files, over onto this card, and there were a dozen of them. So I copied them onto this card in the root of the cards, in the root of the card's directory structure, and then we'll see what happens now. Hopefully, oh wait, all right, connectors up. Hopefully, it tells us there are a dozen files. All right, where was it? Print? And no, it's still saying 1 of 5. Okay, there are not 5 things on here. Okay, it's like it's as if it read the last card and now it's not smart enough, or it doesn't know the card has changed and rereading it, unless I'm just missing something here. Print, back, file selection. It's like it's allowing me to select things, but it's not showing them on the menu. Okay, let's try this. I don't see any method to eject the card or reread the card, nothing. And maybe that's somewhere in the directions and I haven't read the manual yet. Could be. I'm going to try removing this. Let's power off the machine. Power it back on. And see if we get a different result. Put the card in. Go to print. And again, it's telling me 1 out of 5. So maybe that one, maybe it's just a coincidence there were 5 folders. I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to read the doggone manual and try and figure out what's going on here. All right, I'm going to take a break, do some reading, and I will be back.
A few moments later.
Okay, right after I cut off the camera, it suddenly occurred to me that maybe the problem is the way the card is formatted. So what I did is I looked at the original card, and it was formatted as plain MS-DOS FAT, not exFAT, nothing like that, nothing beyond plain old, ordinary, plain vanilla MS-DOS FAT, which I believe is circa 1981, something like that. And so what I did was I took another card and I formatted it in plain old FAT, copied the G-code files over into the root. Let's see if this fixes it. Okay, there, the card's in now. I didn't catch the first time. Now let's go to print. Ah, look there. We suddenly have files. And it is one out of 5. Okay, that's a bit weird. Oh no, 1 out of 5 pages. Okay, 1 out of 5 pages. Okay, there is nothing on pages 4 and 5. But let's see. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, there are 12 G-code files on this card. I don't know why it's only showing 11, but it is showing some. Maybe I miscounted. Pig 4H. Some of these file names, I don't know what these things are. Shoe. Dragon. Oh, dragon sounds interesting. Dog. I don't know what that is. Cat. Dog and a cat and I don't even, Dangsy. I don't know. I think I might try dragon first. Let me see how big there is not a correlation between the complexity of the object and the G-code. Absolutely. I mean, you can have a couple lines of G-code that can generate a lot of machine movement in time. So, but I'm probably gonna look to see what the sizes of the G-code files are and maybe pick a small one first. But if that goes well, I want to do the dragon. All right, let me go do some reading and I'll be back soon.
A few moments later.
Well, that didn't take very long. I mean, honestly, there's not a whole lot of user's manual here. The 2 preheat methods I was looking at earlier, basically it boils down to whether you want to use presets or your own custom setting. If you want to use presets, you go into the prepare menu and you choose what's already been set up for PLA or ABS. If you want to use your own custom settings for the extruder temperature and the bed temperature, then you go into the control menu and you select those. Now, I didn't see anything about being able to change the presets. Maybe that's possible, maybe not. I don't know. Since Creality provided the machine and the presets and the PLA filament, we're just going to go ahead and use the defaults for everything for PLA out of the prepare menu. So we choose prepare and then prepare PLA. Okay, it gave no indication that it gave no acknowledgement of what I was doing, but I do see the extruder and the bed temperature coming up. The extruder is set to 200. The bed is set to 60. Okay, so when that comes up to temperature, then we're going to start printing. And again, you can print two different ways. You can either print driven from a computer, or you can print from the card that we had set up earlier. We're going to go with the card because, well, I don't have a Windows computer to run Creality software. And I'm sure you can drive it out of other software, but I'm just not there yet. So now we just wait.
A few moments later.
That didn't take long at all. Maybe 2-3 minutes tops for it to bring the nozzle and the bed up to temperature. So I think we're going to go back out now and let's try printing. Click on print. And now, as I said before, there's not a good direct correlation between the size of a G-code file and the complexity of the object or the time it's going to take to print that object. But just in case, I decided to take a shot with doing the smallest of the sample G-code files. And that one was a kit, there it is, kit loop. I don't know what it is, but let's try printing it. So we'll click on kit. All right. Oh, kit loop. And click on print. Okay. Not doing anything yet. So let me set up my time. It looks like it's going to give us a timer, but just in case. Okay, it looks like the bed temperature dropped off, or the extruder's temperature dropped off a little bit. It's only at 199. Guess when it comes back to 200, it'll actually start printing. Ah, okay, there we go. So I'll click start on my timer. This is exciting. Just touching the bed a couple times. And okay. It is not doing anything. Oh no, it is leaving. Okay. Oh, there is just a, it's just so faint on there. I just didn't see it at first. Haha. Okay. It's a very, very thin layer. It's like, see where it's kind of skipping a little bit. Almost like the bed wasn't totally flat. Okay, now I think that maybe that jog around the outside was like a test run or something, because it's laying down filament much more thickly. And I still have no clue what this thing is. Let's see, it says it is 1% done. Printing time, I guess that's 2 minutes. Since I pushed start, I think it's only like 140 on my timer. So this is only 1%. It looks like a plane, the outline of a plane. And it's only doing the outside edges, but I don't know what this other stuff would. Oh, I think I know what it is. I wonder if it's like one of those like balsa wood planes used to be, where you would take and you'd punch the pieces out and they would slide together and make a little plane. I bet you that's what this is. Kit loop. I wonder, a kit, okay. I wonder if it's, if you put it together and you throw it, it does that big loop and comes back to you. It's tiny. I mean, it's, you see, it's really small. But yeah, that makes sense because it's like one of these. It's almost like a plastic model that you buy and assemble. Here we have the outside, the sprues holding everything together. That yeah, I don't know about the loop part, but this is definitely a kit airplane. I guess at some point it's going to fill in these outlines. Yeah, yeah, okay. I'm starting to see it now. This down here, this is the like the cockpit and the profile of the plane. There's the wings and the body. That looks like a looks like a MiG 29. At first, I thought it was a an F-15, but no, I think that's actually I think it is a MiG 29. Fulcrum was the NATO name for it. So it's going back and forth and it's filling in the inside of the outlines, and we're up to 8 minutes of print time. This has definitely lost the charm of sitting here and watching it. It's no longer as fun as it was 6 minutes ago. Okay, we're at 8.5 minutes, and it says it is only 5% done. So we'll be back when it's a little closer to being finished. 30 minutes. It's only at 18%. At this rate, it's going to take 3 hours. Well, at the 1 hour point, it's only at 40%. And I don't want to sit here anymore. So I'm going to cancel this print, take this into the house, set it back up, and restart it where I can sit comfortably on my couch and keep an eye on it. I'll bring it all back out here when this thing finishes, and I'll show you what I get. Well, that was a terribly frustrating evening. I moved the printer back into the house, cleaned the partial print off the bed, and restarted the print, just like I'd done before while I was out here in the garage, and it wouldn't work. Well, it would work, but it wouldn't print right. Whereas I was getting nice, laid out filament on the bed, now it was just making a mess. It was leaving globs of material, or leaving it like a little skip pattern, like it wasn't coming out steadily, like little blobs in a line instead of a smooth piece of material. Just very frustrating. Kept restarting, trying again, trying cleaning the bed again. Just couldn't figure out what was wrong. Finally decided, well, maybe I've got a partial nozzle clog. All right, let's look in the manual and see how to clean the nozzle, or worst case scenario, how to change the nozzle, because I got plenty of extras. Nope, not a thing in this manual about how to clean or change the nozzle on the extruder. Now there is a flow chart kind of thing here for troubleshooting, but it really relates to the electronics and the mechanical parts of the printer and getting them to work right, not in terms of getting correct results. And nothing was addressed in terms of it depositing the material in a strange fashion. So I thought, okay, well, this is just like maybe a basic user guide. I mean, a lot of cameras, especially, are like this, where you get a very small, like, intro guide, but they don't want to give you that big old massive full user's manual because it costs money to print that thing. And so they just have you download it as a PDF. So I jump onto the Creality website, and it took a bit of digging to find it, but I finally did locate a spot where there was a bunch of documentation for all the various printers. And I looked down the list, and sure enough, the CR-6 SE isn't there. All their other models are listed, but nothing on it. So I see some note referring to look at the user's manual that's on the SD card that comes with the printer. Aha! All right, that's what they've done. No, no, the SD card is this thing, a PDF of this same exact manual. Okay, so now I'm getting pretty irritated and frustrated, and I'm gonna go look at another model. I don't know what it was. It may have been like a CR-20 or something. And from that, puzzled out how to do a nozzle cleaning, and hopefully it wasn't different on this one. It looked like basically the same extruder, or at least looked the same to me. So I did that. I gave it a try. Eventually, after 2 or 3 cleanings and 2 or 3 botched prints, I finally got a good flow out of the nozzle and got it printing like it was doing before. So all in all, it took a little over 2 hours to finish the print once I got it going. And as you can see here, it's not perfect, but I think it's not bad. There is some stringing and some random gobs of stuff stuck on the stringing and also onto the actual parts themselves. But hey, it worked, and I got something out of it. Now, getting the print off the bed, that's a whole other level of frustration. Nothing in the manual about how to do it, of course. Nothing about that whatsoever. They it's like, hey, we gave you the tool, you should know what to do. But after a while and a bit of frustration, I managed to get the thing off the build plate. I did tear it up a little bit, but I managed to break it out of the sprues and put it together, and there it is. Now, obviously, this is not a flying model. I finally figured out the loop part was this little loop in the top of it where I guess you can hang it from your Christmas tree or something. But that's what that's about. So looking here more closely at the print, you can see that the quality is, I don't know, I guess it's okay for an FDM printer. The surface finish is obviously FDM. There's obviously an outer outline with some stuff pumped into the middle in lines to fill it in. I could have cleaned it up a little more. It would have looked a little better, but I was just in a rush to go ahead and get it together and finish shooting this video. And you can see there on the nose and one of the vertical fins how the layer is kind of delaminated while trying to get it off of the build plate. Well, it's been quite an adventure with my first 3D printer, but we got it out of the box, put together apparently correctly, and got our first print, even though the print itself is less than impressive. So my major impression of the CR-6 SE is that it's a good printer. It seems to be well made. The craftsmanship seems to be fine. The quality of the components seems to be okay, even though I don't really know exactly what I'm looking for. My experience of machinery, this looks like it's well thought out, well engineered, and well made. Now, its major downfall is the documentation. First of all, this manual is merely adequate at best in terms of assembling and then getting started with the first print. The major problem with the documentation is the lack of documentation. There is nothing available for the day-to-day operations and maintenance of the printer. How do I clean the bed? I don't know. How am I supposed to remove stuff from the bed? I don't know. Is there anything I need to, well, obviously, I think these vertical screw drive screws need to be lubricated at some point, but with what? I have no idea. There is no documentation for like 75, 80% of the things in the menu. What are these things for? What do they do? When would you need to change them? Very frustrating in that aspect. Now, if you are an experienced 3D printer and you're used to using FDM printers and especially Creality's printers, and you've gone through all this pain and the learning curve, I think this is probably an excellent machine for you. On the other hand, for people that are new to the hobby or field or whatever you want to call it, I can't recommend this machine because its documentation is non-existent. So take that for what it's worth. If you want to take the risk and you've got the money to burn and you want to flail around and experiment and spend a lot of time reading on the internet and talking in Facebook groups and such, go for it. Why not? But if you want a quick and easy introduction to 3D printing, I'm afraid the Creality CR-6 SE, despite all its fine features, is not the machine for you. As always, everyone, thank you for watching, liking, and sharing my videos. And speaking of liking the videos, please go down there, find that thumbs up button right now, and give us a like on this video. It helps tremendously in terms of YouTube, knowing that you're enjoying the content I'm making and then recommending it to everyone else. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate it if you would go down there, find that big red subscribe button, and give it a click. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's absolutely free, and it really helps me in terms of growing my channel here on YouTube. And once you subscribe, go down there and click on that bell icon. That turns on YouTube's notification system, and that way YouTube will let you know every time that I post new content from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.